Welcome back, everyone. Today we'll be discussing the Yeezy 350 Turtle Dove. Specifically, we'll be discussing whether you should sell or hold the Yeezy 350 Turtle Dove and why that is. To preface this, if you guys enjoy these types of videos regarding the market, reselling, and even info on how to acquire these limited products, be sure to subscribe and enable post notifications. This way you're always 100% updated. Furthermore, for more urgent updates like the recent shock drops, follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10, and also personals for you. And of course, for early information before these drops actually occur, follow the Endurance Twitter for updates on the next restock. For those who don't know, the Yeezy 350 Turtle Dove re-released on Yeezy Day, August 2nd. Retail was elevated to $230 like all recent 350s. Since this is an Adidas product and not Nike, I cannot confirm the precise stock, but based on the amount of success that I saw in Endurance and across Twitter, it was certainly very, very high. In order to determine if the Yeezy 350 Turtle Dove will be a fruitful hold, we will cover whether they're expected to increase post-drop or even hypothetically decrease, along with how much specifically over specific periods of time, and finally, what type of margin are we looking at for these in terms of holding. Not the retail to resell initial margin, but rather just the hold margin over X period of time. Basically, even if they do go up, are they still going to be worth your time? And there's of course no need to cover the expected resale since the release already occurred. Unfortunately, I was not able to post this before the drop. Anyway, this will be a unique seller hold video since it will be heavily dependent on when you receive your pairs, given that shipments will vary greatly for many people since Adidas has a ton of shipments to take care of in a short period of time. 2 days post-drop, prices are now averaging at about $508 in sizes 4 to 12. Remember, we don't typically include the larger ones since they tend to throw off the mean. Now, let's discuss what prices will look like when shipments go out in that 1 to 2 week range and potentially a little longer than that. During this period, the vast majority of pairs will be going in circulation. This is a very unique situation in comparison to most sneakers we cover. Reason being is that hype has always been extremely high on these since their initial release many years ago, being the first ever Yeezy 350. Furthermore, stock was very low, allowing for the extremely high resale they used to hold. Although resale has dropped a ton since their re-release, undoubtedly, this is still a very high average for a sneaker that just re-released in mass quantities. However, the vast majority of these pairs are not in circulation yet, allowing the price to still remain heavily inflated. For this reason, I would expect a higher than usual decrease in value of about 20% or more as shipments go out. Therefore, with a 20% decrease, we may see the average of 4 to 12 dip to around $406 after all shipments go out within 1 to 2 weeks. Still great profit, but a notable drop of potentially around $100 or more. Now that the average price range at those points in time are evident, let's discuss whether they're expected to increase from the post-shipment prices or even hypothetically continue to decrease. When it comes to these Yeezy 350 Turtle Doves, it's very obvious that they will eventually increase. Why? Well, they are not only one of the most hype Yeezys of all time, but they are also the very first iteration of the 350 model. Where have we seen the same dynamic before? The Yeezy 700 Wave Runner. Every time those Wave Runners restocked, they eventually increased from their post-shipment prices. The demand for these is not going anywhere, it's rather just a matter of time. The main threat these will face, similar to what we have seen on the Wave Runner and many other Yeezys, is the unknown possibility of potential restocks. Nonetheless, before another restock of this caliber, there should be more than sufficient time for the price to increase notably again, just like what we have witnessed in the past on the Yeezy 700 Wave Runners. While the Wave Runners are very low in price right now, keep in mind that we experienced numerous high stock restocks for these, while this is only the first ever re-release for the Turtle Doves. Finally, regarding the hold margin on these, essentially, are these actually going to be worth your time, even if they do end up increasing as expected? In the most ideal situation, these could potentially increase to the low end of where we see the original other Yeezy 350 colorways at, such as the Moon Rocks and the Pirates, at around $700. While the Turtle Dove has the highest demand, it now also has significantly more stock by a long shot, unfortunately. More realistically, we could potentially see them increase back to an average of $600 before the next re-release, of course, if there is one. Remember what I mentioned earlier about it mattering when you receive your shipments for these, in other words, when you could sell them. Hypothetically, if you have these right now at the average of $508, this would leave you with an ROI of about 18% when they hit $600, if they ever do, of course, which definitely is not too impressive in comparison to other sneakers that we have evaluated on this channel. On the other hand, if you receive these in around 2 weeks or more, when the average is around that $406 figure or even less than that, this would leave you with a 40% or more ROI, which is definitely really solid. And if you receive them somewhere in between that range, you're looking at an average ROI of about 30%, which is just about average for the sneakers we typically cover. Now remember, that's assuming these get to $600 again in the future, perhaps within 2 years or so. Hence, I have rated these a 6 out of 10 hold, primarily because the ROI for the later shipments is very impressive, and perhaps they could even go above 600 in the future optimistically. However, they're still not a 7 or 8 out of 10 hold because the ROI for the prices you could get right now is definitely not impressive. Again, 18%. With that said, if you have pairs right now, I suggest selling them as soon as possible. If you receive your pairs when the resale has bottomed out at around the average of 400 and some pairs even in the high 300s, then I would consider holding these. If your position lies somewhere in between, I'd say you're better off selling if the ROI you calculate is anything less than 30%. So do a calculation on your own when you get your pair with the end price being $600, or whatever you think the end price will be, of course. Personally, I'm keeping my pair. These are going straight to feet. These have been grails of mine for ages, and I'm extremely grateful that I finally got to get a pair in my size. Also, just a note in general for anyone considering holding any items who do have low capital, you should never hold anything in general if you don't have sufficient capital to go for as many drops as possible at your full potential without holding back. If you do need money to go for all drops, try to sell these as soon as possible. And before we end it today, eDeals is now open for a finite period. You can purchase a membership with the link in the description for only $14.99. All information regarding it can be found on the eDeals website, again linked in the description. It's an excellent way to help you guys save hundreds of dollars a month, in addition to monitors and release info for sneakers as well. Let me know what you guys are doing with your pairs down in the comments below. Since this is a discussion at the end of the day, I can't predict the future. That's just my personal analysis based on the data that I've acknowledged. We have a lot of brilliant minds watching the video right now though, so I implore you to share your notions down in the comments below as well. Anyway, subscribe and enable post notifications. This way you stay 100% updated on all hyped releases. Leave a like if you enjoyed, or perhaps if you learned a thing or two. Also, be sure to check out the other links in the description for reliable, fast, residential proxies. Be sure to follow Endurance's Twitter for updates on the next restock or key giveaways, and the same goes for Gargantua if you want to keep up with the progress or restocks. Last but not least, make sure to follow Keith Adam 10 and Personals for you. This way you guys stay updated on all urgent info like I was going over today. With that though, I will see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and congratulations if you copped.